Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going into part 2 of our Back to Basics series. In this series, I break down every step of makeup for you guys. I try to get as in-depth as possible. This is actually part 2 of my series. If you have not watched the first one, I actually break down moisturizing and priming and giving yourself that glow before foundation. And as I explained in that video, it is so important to have that underglow before piling things on your face. So today we're into the foundation world and I want to break down everything to you. So we're going to start off with a beauty blender. Ridiculous enough as it may seem, some people don't know that you're supposed to actually wet these things before you use them, unless you want it to absorb your foundation completely. So I have here a clear bowl of water with just a tiny bit of water, but I just wanted to show you guys how much water you really need on your beauty blender. And I'm just gonna dip this in here. I dip it in like right in the, and then I squeeze it. So I do this right in the beginning of my makeup routine just because I like for the beauty blender to not be too wet. I don't like to run my beauty blender underwater just because I do not need all of that water in the beauty blender. You just need it to be a little bit damp, like a little bit damp, you guys, where you touch it and you're like, oh, this was wet before. But you don't want to squeeze it and anything come out. The whole reason behind doing that is just to get the most out of the beauty blender. It helps you get that flawless look. It gives you that airbrushed finish, but you have to use it correctly. That's the only thing. Don't use a dry beauty blender. Don't use a overly saturated with water beauty blender, and you'll be good. So I put this to the side. Depending on how my skin is that day, sometimes I go ahead and I spray my face first. So for that, I use the Morphe setting spray. I also like to use the NYX setting spray and the Wet n Wild. The Wet n Wild setting spray is actually one of my favorites along with this one. I love it. One of the things that I like to do is just kind of put a little bit of some sort of moisture down. Super luminous glow going on today, and I did prime, moisturize. I did everything. I followed all the steps in my previous video, which I will again let you guys know that I will link every video to the series down below. Jumping right into the foundation. The foundation I'm using today, no surprise to you guys, is the Dose of Colors foundation. It's the 126 medium tan. I could have went for a 125, 124, but this one gives me the kind of tan looking that I get on my body, which is usually what tans the most. So I love this foundation because it's considered a natural matte foundation, but I love the way this stuff mixes in with any primer, any moisturizer. I don't get any clumps. It looks so nice and it's such a nice flawless finish. It is also a medium coverage foundation, which is one thing we should talk about. Medium coverage foundations are foundations that are buildable, meaning they're not going to go on super heavy. They're buildable. If you want that nice natural look, medium coverage is the way to go. Personally, for me, I'm not a big light coverage person. I just feel like I'm just not. Even though I do want to try a few tinted moisturizers and I will review them for you guys, but I'm not a huge light foundation person. A good full coverage foundation is the Juvia's Place I Am Magic Velvety Matte Foundation, and this one gives you more of a matte finish. These are more for like my high glam days I really want to go in. I also have their foundation sticks. So the foundation sticks are just as good as well. They're super thick, they're super long lasting, but I'm not crazy about having full coverage daily. So it's something that I like to have the option of, like, am I gonna go ham today? Am I not gonna go ham today? You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go in right with my Dose of Color foundation. I wanna show you guys the way I do it. So I like to warm up the product, and the way I warm up the product is usually on the back of my hand. What this does kind of gets the foundation going. It's what works for me. Again, I don't know exactly why I do some of the things that I do. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it works for me, you know? So I just take one pump of this foundation. I'm not happy with my foundation brushes. I'm actually in the market for a new one, but I'm gonna show you guys what I do with what I have right now. I'm using the NYX Professional Makeup brush, and this is just like one of the angled brushes. Just kind of start patting into my hand. Like I said, you don't have to use your hand. You can use something else, whatever works for you. And I start working in sections. So as I'm applying, I am like tapping in. I'm not swiping. If you swipe your foundation, you're literally gonna be left with so many streaks. So what I mean by swipe your makeup, it's like this. Like, you know what I mean? Some people do it. Don't laugh. And then I go as close as I can to the hairline, but not too close, because that is where the contouring and all that good stuff will be going into play. Don't forget to bring down your foundation into your neck. You do not want to look 5 different tones, and even into your ears, depending on if you're wearing your hair up. And I'm wearing my hair up today, so we're going there today. So this is literally with one pump of foundation. I'm still working. I feel like this is low-key a review for this foundation. But it's really not. I'm just letting you guys know that I really do like it. You see the glow? Like, I still keep that glow. That's why I like it. I guess the way I can explain this particular foundation is more like it just mixes well with other things. I've had foundations that do not mix well with other things. And you get all these little like bumps, which is like, it looks like curdling of like the foundation mixed with like your primer, your moisturizer. So right under the neck, this is an area that a lot of people forget. So this is my first initial like put down of my foundation. I have more spots to go. I don't have my ear and everything else on that side. So I'm just doing the same thing. A pump of the Dose of Color Meet Your Hue foundation in 126 medium tan. And I'm going to be working more on this side and giving it some love. So I use this brush mostly to put down the product and to put it down slowly, but I go over it with the Beauty Blender, or sometimes I even start with the Beauty Blender. It really all depends. If I really want to distribute product, I use a brush first and then I go in with the Beauty Blender. And that's the way I would suggest it always. And for the neck, I'm just going down in circles like this. So I just want it to give it a little bit of that color. Now, before your foundation dries, make sure you go ahead and go into it with the Beauty Blender, because if you do want to get out any streaks and you do want to give yourself that airbrush finish that a Beauty Blender provides, you want to do that before it dries, because if not, you're screwed. And this foundation dries pretty quick, but it does leave a little bit of a tacky feel to it, which I like because it adheres to my cream contour a lot better than some. So the way I'm doing this, you guys, is light pressure and pouncing on the skin. So if you see the pressure that I'm applying right here, that's the pressure, and the movement, I'm just doing it a lot faster. And don't forget the neck, and don't forget your ears. So at this rate, you can continue to build it up, or you can stop right here. I'm happy with 2 layers of this foundation. For me, this is full enough. So that sums up part 2, my foundation in-depth video. If you have any more questions, feel free to comment down below. All questions are accepted, and no question is too dumb or anything like that. If you do want me to touch base on something I talked about today a little more, let me know as well. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned for part 3, where I will teach you how I apply my concealer, what brushes or sponges I use, also contouring, what I use to contour, what's better for you, cream or powder, and just giving you a bunch of different options. So make sure you guys subscribe for that, and don't forget to turn on your notification so you know exactly when I do upload this video. Until next time, you guys, peace.